Wow, this is long overdue. overdue. This is my tribute to the Beatles, basically. I'm going to explain my favorite, songs, albums, the greatest hits albums, and even which of the four Beatles I like in order. And I'll just give it to you now. This one, Beatles, 1962 to 1965, is my all-time favorite album. Well, technically not. It would be Help because, this isn't technically an album. It's a greatest hits album. But if you include greatest hits album, the Beatles 1962 to 1965, or the Red Album, is my favorite Beatles album. Well, my favorite album altogether of all time. And the reason for that is, I was raised a Beatles fan. And, you see, my music teacher back in elementary school actually was the reason I liked the Beatles so much. He always, made us sing Beatles songs, which is funny. The first time I ever heard of the Beatles was I saw them on TV before I went to school, and then that very same day we started talking about the Beatles, and, we were going to start singing their songs and stuff. In his class, we watched the Help movie, I think, twice or three times, and the Yellow Submarine movie twice. I didn't see A Hard Day's Night in that class. I saw a couple minutes of it, but I didn't even see the full movie until just a couple years ago, and I did enjoy it. I was exposed to the Beatles in their earlier era, not their earliest era, with the leather jackets and whatnot. But I was more exposed to their earlier era. Obviously, that's because that's when they were most appropriate for an elementary school. I mean, the Beatles are probably like the most kid-friendly band of all time, but yeah. Oh, there's my favorite album, Help. So that's why I really, really, really prefer the Beatles in the earlier era. What do I keep saying area? I was more raised on them. I was raised on both, but I really did not learn that much at all about the Beatles in their later years until I was older. And, my teacher, Mr. Cade, actually rubbed off on me. I'm one of the biggest Beatles fans I know. I am the biggest Beatle fan I know. And I don't know how, but all these years later, Beatles is still my favorite band. They've been my favorite band since I was probably 3-4 years old. They were the only band I used to like. Now I like a lot of them, but they're still my favorite. McCartney was always my favorite Beatle. I don't know why. I like him more now. I have more of a reason to like him now than I used to, but anyway. Alright, let's go with albums first, and then I'll go with songs, and then I'll explain my favorite Beatles in order. Alright, here I go. Albums. Number 10, Let It Be. Let It Be, I actually got the CD Let It Be Naked when it first came out. I don't know if I still have it, but I was like 8 years old. My parents knew I liked the Beatles. And I like the song Let It Be, mostly, and I like the song Get Back. I don't really listen to much more of that album. Number 9, Sgt. Pepper. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Again, I like the song Sgt. Pepper, with a little help from my friends. They're both pretty good songs. And, again, I'm not really a hardcore later Beatles fan, so, I mean, I can't really explain my... In fact, I don't really care... I didn't really care for John Lennon in his later years. I'm not saying that I'm glad he died. I mean, he was still an inspiration and a hero, but I didn't care too much for what he did. I still liked McCartney, but, alright, number 8, Please Please Me. Hey, what do you know? Please, that's the album right up there now. Well, I like this one because it was one of those, like, their first album in America, anyway. I liked it. I like their version of Twist and Shout. I love that song. They're the reason I love it. It's fantastic. Alright, number 7, The Beatles, White Album. Obla Di is my favorite from that. because I like it. McCartney's style, his joyous, happy style. I like the song Revolution. Not the one version on there, but I do like the song Revolution, which was the B-side to Hey Jude. Number 6, Abbey Road. Abbey Road. I like pretty much every song on that album. It's my favorite Blue Era Beatles album. By the way, that's what I say. Their earlier suit-wearing years, I call that the Red Era, and then their later hippie years, I call that the Blue Era. That's just me, but just so in case you hear me talk about that, that's what I mean. Abbey Road. I like Maxwell's Silver Hammer, Come Together, Something, Octopus's Cars, as well as the rest of them. Those are just naming a few. They're all really good, and it's a really good album. It's probably one of their most famous, definitely. Number 5, Revolver, and number 4, Rubber Soul. I can explain those both basically at the same time. I don't really have an explanation for them. I just kind of like them. It's kind of fun. Number 3, Hard Day's Night. I love Can't Buy Me Love, Hard Day's Night. I love the movie too. It's probably the Beatles', I'd say, most famous, maybe. It's probably their biggest album, I would say. That's just me. Number 2, Beatles for Sale. That has one of my absolute favorite songs on it. It's only had one single, which is one of my favorite songs. It was a fun album. And by the way, I have every Beatles album, so I've heard them all. And number 1, of course, is Help. Help. I've seen the movie many times. I've listened to the whole album. I love the whole album. I love every song on the album. It's just my favorite album of all time. Help is just... It's also my favorite song of all time. It's just a great... I had to sing it in elementary school, and I didn't hate it because of it. It was just great. Alright, my top 10 favorite songs. Okay, here we go. Number 10 is a tie between Ticket to Ride and Come Together. Ticket to Ride is one of the ones I had to sing. Come Together is a good song. Number 9 is Another Girl, which is a song from Help. I sang that too. It was in the movie. Number 8, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Let's see. 7, Revolution, which I didn't know the name to that song until a while ago. I kept trying to find it too. That's the worst part. Number 6, Day Tripper. 5, Paperback Writer, which I can seriously relate to. And it's a great song. I love it. Number 4, We Can Work It Out. 3, 8 Days a Week. Number 2, Yesterday. And number 1, Help. Oh, it's my favorite. And yes, just I think all of them except for 2 are Red Album era songs. But again, that's just because I like the Red Album era Beatles better. But that's pretty much when they were the Beatles, That's I would say that's when they were more popular. Before they split up. The first 6 years of their career, that's 60% of their career was, spent in this kind of era thing. And then the last 3 years were they went hippie with Sgt. Pepper, starting with Sgt. Pepper, ending with Let It Be. Alright, my favorite Beatles, number 4, is Ringo Starr. I like Ringo, and I like his work today. Now, if we're going by individual musicians, out of the 4 individually, he's my second favorite. As a Beatle, he's my 4th favorite because he was kind of overshadowed by the rest of them. Number 3 is George Harrison. Actually, it depends. We're talking about in the later years. Well, I didn't really particularly care for John or George. In the earlier years, it would be George. And I didn't really care for his solo career. But again, he's a hero and an inspiration, and I was sad to see him die. He did die in my lifetime. Number 2 is John Lennon. However, not the later Lennon, the early Lennon. I did really like John Lennon in his earlier years. When this era right here. But, when he got to this era, Number 1, this guy, Paul McCartney, my favorite musician ever. And through every era, I still loved him. He was great. And I loved his solo career the greatest. He turned out to be the best. He came out on top. Turns out he was the most talented. Anyway, I would love to hear your favorite Beatles. Your favorite albums, your favorite songs. It could be top 2, top 5, top 20, top 10. I don't care. I hope you enjoyed my Beatlemania. Thank you and have a wonderful Beatle day.